like to call the county commission meeting for February 21st to order. Before we go into prayer, I think all of y'all are aware about the loss of Jamie Ledger, Ray Ledger's wife. As y'all know, that she died a week ago unexpectedly. Her service not, of course, that while Ray's not here. I think everyone has a Jamie story. She was everybody's friend. She was always supportive, just that good person. So as we pray tonight, let's remember Ray and their family during this trying time. Dr. Weeks, would you mind leading us a prayer?
Thank you to you that you hear our prayers. Father, we especially lift up Mr. Ledger and his family to you. Father, we are thankful for the gift of life, and we're thankful for that precious relationships, precious friendships that you give to each one of us. Father, we ask that you comfort him and his family during this time. And Father, let your presence be known to them. Father, tonight as this body takes action, we just pray for wisdom, pray for guidance for each decision that's made tonight. Those decisions be made in the best opportunities for all of us here in Dickson County. Father, we're thankful for this place that you've given us to live and to serve, and we just ask blessings upon us, best blessings upon each citizen, each business owner that operate here and take care of their businesses here. Father, again, we just thank you for being with us. We thank you for your gift of salvation and your love for us. We thank you, pray in your name.
Amen. Everyone stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Simpkins.
Here.
Mr. Ledger, Mr. McElwain, Mr. Beatty, Mr. Dawson, Ms. Spicer, Mr. Buckner, Mr. Britt, Mr. Petty, Mr. Williams, Mr. Grove, Ms. Gray.
We do have a quorum. First order of business is approval of January 17th, 2023 minutes. Open floor for motion. Motion by Commissioner Buckner, second by Commissioner Beatty. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next order of business, committee reports. Before us, we have one of our favorite attorneys, Mr. Maybe you're not our favorite attorney. You look embarrassed by that. I said one of our favorite attorneys. If you don't mind coming forward and speak on the judiciary.
And Commission, the County Judicial Commissioners Committee met this evening for the purpose of reviewing the Judicial Commissioners Handbook. And that handbook is guidance to those judicial commissioners. And we met for the purpose of that review and updating it. There will be some updates and amendments coming before you at the next work session. Those amendments were reviewed and approved by the Judicial Commissioners Committee. And again, that will be coming to you on the 6th of March for your all's consideration at a work session, and then for your approval on the next regular meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vanderbilt. Next item is UT Extension Committee, Commissioner Simpkins.
We also met last Thursday. Mike Petty is our new member. Becky has served her term, and her time is she'll have to wait for another year to start back, Becky. We appreciate your time on there and serving. You attended meetings well, and that's means a lot to us. Also tonight, Allison is here tonight. She's got a newsletter they continue to publish. Miss Janet started this a few years ago, and she continues to do that. Everybody should have one at their desk, and it's got a lot of good information in there. And we'll continue on. We still need one more person in that office, and Miss Allison is still looking to fill that position.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Simpkins. Any questions for Commissioner Simpkins? Ms. Harmon, thank you for being here tonight. I hear you have a basketball game you need to be in. Good luck for the Cougars tonight. Thank you. Yeah, this will be on elections. Unless does she need to be a part of that? Okay, we're good. Next item of business is election, the UT Agriculture Extension Committee. The election, as you heard, would be for Mr. Mike Petty. We also need to include in there the additions of for their reelection for their second and third terms, Ms. Connie Hurd, Ronald Kimbrough, and Dwight McElwain for their second terms, and Todd Berry for his third term. So they're also part of this motion. I need a motion and a second to vote on these. There's a motion by Commissioner Beatty, second by Commissioner Buckner. Any questions or discussion? All in favor of these, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next is appointments. Planning Commission, appointment of Mr. Todd Lindsay to full term left by Mr. Mac Pilkington, and appoint Mr. Patrick Reagan for a 4-year term to fill those vacancies. I'll group those together, so no objection. Open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner McElwain, second by Commissioner Gray. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item number 5 is public hearings, a rezoning request for Sylvia Storage LLC / Jennifer Perkins, tax map 86, parcel 18.00, 6.39 acres, 2332 Sylvia Road, Dickson, Tennessee, A1 agriculture to C1 commercial in the 9th district. Mr. Darnell.
Packet you received at the February 6th work session. It is a rezoning request for Jennifer Perkins, who is the owner of Sylvia Storage LLC, 6.39 acres. And this, if you know where it's at, it's directly in front of the airport. It's currently where all the non-conforming mobile homes are there. Their plan is to remove them and put a self-storage development there. This was approved by the Planning Commission at the January 12th, 2023 meeting by a 7-0 vote. To bring it to tonight's public hearing, we've only had one call on it, and they were very happy to know at some point in time the trailers would finally be gone.
Thank you. Any questions at this point? Not, we'll get a show of hands. Who is here to speak in the public hearing? Is one here to speak? We have one. Is anyone else here to speak? We have one showing. Okay, we'll open the public hearing for that one speaker. If you'd like to come forward and state your name, we'd love to hear from you.
I'm Paul Bullington. I'm with Realty Executives, Hometown Living and Property Management, Inc. here in Dickson. We are very much pro this rezoning and having the storage units replace the trailers. I know it's an eyesore for lots of people, and as far as what we're trying to accomplish as far as the county, it's kind of clean up the area and the tenants and all of that jazz. So we're please really consider the approval of that. So we appreciate what you've done this far. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the only speaker on the public hearings. The public hearing is now closed. First order of business is under resolution, quarterly financial reports, all school funds. That's our friend, Dr. Danny Weeks, is that school board representative tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. We submitted those through the planning session that you had a couple of weeks ago. Again, I would just remind you that our revenues are at 52% of our budgeted amounts. Our expenses are at 44% of our budgeted amounts. We have 2 departments that we're looking at. One is maintenance, one is technology. Those are a little above the 50% mark, but are certainly in line with where they ought to be. And we feel very comfortable with those funds. So here to answer any questions if you would have those.
Any question for Dr. Weeks? Thank you, Dr. Weeks. We'll entertain a motion to approve these. Motion by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Brett. Any question or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next is a resolution to authorize certain amendments to all funds of the county's budget except only the funds established for schools. Mr. Don Hall.
Amendments, we're doing number 3, item 3.
Yep, I got an order, didn't I? I'm okay with that if you are.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's do that and we'll go back to.
Okay, this here, the amendments on item number 3, I emailed you all the amendments that we're working on except Bridge Fund 132 and Debt Service 151. So that will cover all of those except those 2 funds. So we just need to finalize those. I did send you some. I made some adjustments like on Community Development Industrial Park. I think I just covered some small items, and then it looks like that hotel motel tax is going to at least make $200,000 more than what we budgeted. Looks great. I didn't jump it as much as it may very well make. So I did some small things like that. Revenues and general fund look fine. Look, they've got, for example, there is a sports gaming, opioid funds, titling and registration. Those are some new funds that we're bringing in some pretty good monies on the revenue side. So there are some things there that you'll see probably even I may increase on the next amendments we may do in April or May. So those are new type funds that are bringing in extra monies also. So, but if you don't have any questions, we just need to finalize the amendments, except for the bridge fund and debt service. I didn't do anything with those.
And I am out of order on this. So we're looking at item number 3 right now is what we're.
Item
looking
number
at.
3, amendments.
Any questions for Mr. Hall or myself? Open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner McElwain. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. And before Mr. Hall goes back to number 2, he did touch on that from the opioid settlements that the state of Tennessee is involved in, that we're a member of. We are getting revenue from that. It's not clear how much we're going to get. At this point, we've received probably about $160,000.
I think that's exact amount. Yes.
Okay, I read my reports. But we have more that's coming in. We will be back with this body probably during budget time or later, once we know how much money we have there, and then get together and make some determinations how that needs to be spent. Some of it can be used as lost revenue. Others has to be done either on enforcement or rehabilitation on drugs. So we're not going to come up with any plan until we know exactly how much money we have, and then come back and talk to y'all about that. So I did want to point that out because that is a new fund. That money just started coming in December and January, I believe.
Yeah.
On that.
Late in the year, late in second quarter. Yeah.
Item number 2 is quarterly financial reports, all funds set school. Mr. Hall.
Yeah, I don't have anything. I looked through all 9 funds that we cover in the general government side. As I was told 2 weeks ago, everything looks to be going pretty good on all those funds. So I don't have anything to add. We just need a vote to finalize those, unless you have a question.
Any question, Mr. Hall? Open the floor for motion.
Miss Gray, she's really good at looking at these. She found some formulas that I had messed up. She's good at keeping a check.
I'm telling you, we may have to put her on real payroll.
Yeah, she's doing pretty good at that stuff.
Well, good. We have a motion by Commissioner Grow to approve the second by, was that you, Commissioner Dawson? Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we're voting on number 2. Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item number 4 is copier bid resolution authorize the county to enter into a contract with RJ Young Company for lease copiers. Mr. Hall.
Yeah, the recommendation is still RJ Young, unless they can't do the job. And then we've had RJ Young several different times over the years. It appears they will be able to handle the job.
Thank you. Open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Spicer, second by Commissioner Williams. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hall. I think are we done with you for a minute?
Yeah, you've got number 5 there. If you.
Okay. Yeah, I've got it right here on that. Thank you. Resolution number 5, item number 5 is resolution to authorize certain amendments to the budgets established for Highway Department and the Capital Projects Fund 171 to fund additional road paving within the county. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. After we had our books closed, we saw we're in good shape on that we could move $1 million out of highways fund balance into paving. And then we received the $384,000 back from FEMA on monies we expended during the August 21 flood. So that's why we just rounded off to 1.4 million to do additional paving by Mr. Hodges and his crew. Open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Butler, second by Commissioner McElwain. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item number 6 is resolution to authorize the county to enter into a software maintenance agreement for technical support related to the equipment in the Dickson County Justice Center. You see that's what Mr. Donnie Bear presented to us 2 weeks ago, and it is as he stated on this. I'll open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Grove, second by Commissioner Gray. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed, thank you. Item number 8 is the Canterbury Clearing resolution authorized county mayor and or purchasing agent to enter into a contract to clear trees and brush for industrial site. We've had a bid on that, as you see in the resolution. That's the lowest and best bid. We also have to run this because it's a state and TVA has involvement in this. We run this by them and they've also approved this. So, but the county body, we're managing this project. So it needs to be approved by, the bid needs to be approved by us. So open floor for motion. Motion by Commissioner Williams. Second by Commissioner Gray. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next item is volunteer fire department leases. We have Mr. Rob Fisher here with us tonight and Mr. Brian Reagan. They're the ones to put this together. So if you got any hard questions, we'll let them answer those. Mr. Reagan.
So the resolution that you have in front of you would authorize the county to enter into leases with the non-municipal county volunteer fire departments. And right now, the plan is that the lease would be for a term of 1 year, although that's still in discussion about some of these terms, but it'll be for a nominal amount with the lease continuing to renew. And there will be certain conditions that will be established, and that'll be an ongoing discussion in completing these leases about what they have to do in order to maintain these fire engines, because the key is we want them to use them. We want them to have them to respond to calls, but we also want to make sure that they're being maintained, that they're not transferred, that there's insurance being maintained. So there would be a way to recoup or replace if there was something that happened to them. And so the leases will have all of that information in them. And so what you're being asked to do tonight is to authorize the county to move forward with that, to lease these trucks. I think 3 of them are already in, and 3 more are expected to be in within the next month.
Probably before then we go out for the 4th or 3rd.
Okay.
We'll probably have all the
Okay. So that's it in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Right. Will you, I want to, when we lease a truck, Penske, Penske is solely responsible for the insurance. Everything about that truck going down the road. So won't the county be responsible for the truck, no matter if they do go into a contract? Because what if something happens to some of the personnel at the fire department and it gets mixed up, whatever, and they drop their insurance? Won't that be an extra cost, or somebody doing book work for the county?
Right. So
If the county, if the taxpayer is going to pay for the trucks, why don't we just let them have the trucks and have some kind of an agreement? If they get rid of the trucks, sell them, whatever, everything proceeds come back to the county, and then they'd be responsible, and then be responsible solely for the truck, the liabilities, and everything going on with it, because you're actually joining into a partnership, the way I see it.
right. So I'll speak to the legal aspect of that. As far as the insurance, one of the conditions, as I said, in the lease will be that they maintain insurance and that the county is named as loss payee and additional insured to cover the county both for the value of the equipment, the truck, but also to cover the county for any liability there may be through the use of that fire truck. We have spoken with and met with the county's insurance agent, and he understands and has looked at the way that we're laying this out and believes that that's satisfactory. The county will have its own backup coverage in the event there was a problem. But let's say, though, that they cancel their insurance. Well, part of the lease is that we'll have the right to know that before it happens. And if they do, that's an event of default that would allow us to take that truck back. And we don't anticipate that that's going to happen. I think all of the volunteer fire departments are really happy about this and speaking with Mr. Fisher. And so we're just putting these in there more as a precautionary matter than anything else.
Well, see, what I don't understand is the taxpayer is paying for the truck. What gives us the right to take it back, period, if it's for the fire department? See, that don't make sense. I mean, I guess we're just good stewards of it, right?
Right, and the county borrowed money for the trucks. And I think there is still money that's outstanding and owed on those. And so I think it was just determined at this time that would be the better approach. It's not a legal issue, but I would anticipate that somewhere out into the future, if a fire department is complying with those terms, there will be some plan at some point in the future that those trucks would end up being theirs. But again, that's not really a legal issue, and that'll be something that would come back here.
Yeah, well, the way they driving things out on the road and everything, they hit somebody and kill them. And you know, the insurance is gonna be the insurance, and then the county's gonna be, in fact, they're gonna be a partnership for me. I mean, I don't know. I just going with what Penske, no, that what we do a truck. I mean, we don't have no insurance. I mean, other than on the cargo, I mean, we have to tell you on that, but they make sure that, and they can charge us for it when we take the truck back. So, and, but
Thank you. Any other questions?
Hey, Brian, no, not that it matters, but could you tell me where they're going so I can write them down and I'll know?
Mr. Fisher can.
One goes to Tennessee City. Pilot, Dickson County Fire and Rescue, Cumberland Furnace, Harper Ridge. I'm missing somebody. There's six of them. That name is Sylvia.
And the three that are in now are going where?
The three that we have in now are Tennessee City, Sylvia, Yellow Creek, and Harper Ridge.
And in anticipation, all the trucks being delivered, all the volunteer fire departments going to bring those on a Monday night when where they can come up and show you what you purchased to help keep this community safe. And I think they'd appreciate y'all. And I know for what y'all have done to get this done and give you a chance to show some appreciation for what they do for us, because they keep this community safe, and we couldn't do what we do without them. So we're proud that we're able to do this.
you know, Mayor, I wish that we could work toward, manning each one of our fire stations, maybe a couple of people. People, we had to raise a little bit of taxes, and then the county could be, would be really getting a service,
I
Them
agree.
boys, they work all hard, but
I understand, and I appreciate the work Mr. Fisher has done since he's been here. You've been with us now, I think, coming up on 10 years in April. We started flat. We've improved the funding for fire. We've come up with a new formula based on the work they do, training, and now equipment. And Mr. Fisher, I believe you have 5 full-time firefighters. And we'll be doing a budget here in a couple of months. So I'll open for any suggestions you may have. And if you feel a tax increase is necessary to do it, I'll be glad to put the budget together that way. At this point, we don't have a motion and a second. Let me get a motion second on this. Motion by Commissioner Groves, second by Commissioner Britt. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Under other business, the first is what we've already been over, and this is where we read the rezoning request for Sylvia Storage LLC / Jennifer Perkins, tax map 86, parcel 18-0 or 18.00, 6.39 acres, 2,332 Sylvia Road, Dickson, Tennessee, A1 agriculture to C1 commercial, 9th district. The vote tonight is to move this on to be at the meeting for final disposition on the third Monday of March, which will be, I guess, the 20th on that. Open the floor for motion, excuse me. Motion by Commissioner Buckner, second by Commissioner Dawson. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. One other item, other business is y'all aware where we had a lot of discussion 2 weeks ago over the Humane Society and the role they play along with county government. Sheriff Eads and I met each other last Friday, not this past Friday a week ago. And then again, we met today and went over some different items on that. So kind of want to walk you through this and show you where Sheriff Eads is. He'll be able to add something to this if he needs to. But if not, we'll move forward. We'll just leave that to you, Sheriff. You want me to go and kind of run through something real quick?
Yeah, you gotta get this over. You got it.
Yeah, well, what I'd like to go over, typically we get back in a little bit of history. Okay, get back in a little bit of history on where we are. In 1998, the county commission made the decision to have animal control. Animal control is in place to protect the citizens of Dickson County. Animal control is an optional service. It's not anything a county has to do. We had some amendments made that in the mid 2000s, but basically stayed the same. The process. In 2019, Sheriff Bledsoe came to me and wanted to partner with the Humane Society at that time. And while we were doing the budget in 2019, his suggestion with his work with the Humane Society was that we fund $25,000 a year to that budget. In 2021, I met with Sheriff Eads, and the suggestion at that point in time was to look at funding $45,000 a year that we did there in fiscal 21 and then fiscal year 22. But as you know, during after the budget was approved on the first Monday of June of 2022, during July of 22, myself and Sheriff Eads were contacted by the Humane Society about funding, and that they felt like it may not be sufficient. After a couple of meetings of discussion, they came back to us with a $150,000 request, which y'all are aware of right now. So just to carry it through with some of the discussion without a lot of history, we all come from our own background experiences, why we do things and how we do things. As a banker and I guess sort of a businessman, when you look at a request for finances from a business or a group, you look for control and if they understand their business. So when a business comes in and asks for 25,000, then 45,000, and then an increase to 150,000, a 333% increase from a non-emotional business standpoint, that gives you pause. You need to look and see how it's being managed and how it's being done. Sheriff spends time on the board. We worked on that back and forth on that. We were, as you were told, were notified in October that the board was considering canceling their contract with us. The Humane Society board was. I was a little bit taken aback by that because without a lot of discussion, it appeared that we may be about to use animals and their welfare as bargaining tools. Well, on November 19th, we did get that, and it was, we'd taken it back. As I think we probably heard or understood what occurred the other day, I think that was going to be a negotiating tool to get us to the table. But I think we all know each other here well enough that if you tell me something, I take you at face value. It's not I don't do negotiations and we're doing a car sales thing or something like that. I mean, what you say, I take your word at it. So whenever that was done, we went through an emergency management performance that we do. We have a 4-step process. And so on November 20th, after we got that, myself, the sheriff, Rob Fisher, and Donnie Bear met through the 4-step process on emergencies which we felt like we were in one because we were given a 60-day notice. The first one is helping people. Well, in our case, we had to help animals. So we made some quick moves to do that, to go out to the animal control center, the old one that we felt was the best option. It was unsuitable for habitation. So, but between the work of the sheriff's department, the inmates, Mr. Fisher, Donnie Bear, the maintenance department, that place was cleaned up. It's not the Radisson, it's the Motel 6, but we had to have something available so these animals wouldn't be put in a position to be abandoned. It was cleaned up, it's clean, it's safe. Heat and air we borrowed to put in. We had to borrow a pump from the water authority to take care of the sewer issue. So I want to thank my people and the sheriff's people for getting on top of this as quick as they did, because we were put in a position. Excuse me. Let's see. Again, you know, we had what came up on the internet, Facebook, and all that kind of stuff. I know it's hard to listen to a lot of invective when you're trying to make rational decisions. So I was more than proud to give the Humane Society an opportunity to air grievances and all that. And we've done that. I hear them loud and clear. From a lot of things that were put out there, a lot of things being said, we have to set those aside and do what's right. I do appreciate those that are on the board and those that are involved in Humane Society that have come up and, I guess, for lack of a better word, to give an apology about how that was handled. But we're going to set that beside us and behind us tonight. We're about to move forward on this. What the sheriff has done tonight, he's done a good job putting together a presentation quickly. We are going to sit down before the week's out to finish up his presentation. There's some things I'd like to add to it. And then at that point in time, I would like to set up, or at this point in time, I'd like to set up a committee to look at this that can meet at 6 o'clock before the work session and start this process. We have it steps beyond the immediate process of funding. The sheriff's job here is to manage it, the animal control. My job here is to manage funding. It's your job to come up with funding. So what y'all decide to do as a body is up to you. But I think we have some questions need to be answered before we move forward beyond the funding. And I think we learned several things the other night about how long animals are kept, what animals are accepted and not accepted, how long, and like I said, how long animals kept. These are decisions that are beyond funding, because back to the charge of county government, it's animal control. Now, anything that this board and body and the sheriff wishes to manage, you can carry that as far and as wide as you want to. But the only legal obligation you have to do at this point is animal control, unless you choose to disband that. That is not my recommendation, but it'll give us an opportunity to look at all these things, talk to the vendors such as Humane Society or anyone else, have this committee meet, look at it. I'm getting myself out of that because apparently I've become a lightning rod in it, and I don't want to take away from the work that needs to be done. So I've already talked to the commissioners about putting them on this, and the commissioners I've asked it and they've agreed to be on here is Commissioner Simpkins, Commissioner Britt, Commissioner Spicer, Commissioner Petty, and Commissioner Buckner, and their charge will be to meet next at our meeting on March the 6th at 6 o'clock to start this process. My hope is that we don't drag this process out, that we get to a point where we can move this forward, get it back to the full body, and get some ideas where we need to hit here and head. If you're not on this committee, your input is still valued. You need to be a part of it, but we need to get down to a workable session. And that's what we want to do. Sheriff, at this point, if you'd like to go over anything you have, and then we get done with that, if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer any. I'm sure you would too.
Thank you, Mayor, for giving me an opportunity to present. I think the committee is a great idea. I agree with Mayor Rowell 100% on that. I just want to give you a quick snapshot. The easiest way to do it was to put it on a quick PowerPoint. This is information only. Obviously, you're not voting on it. Just this I'll take to the committee and refine. This will give me time to refine some more numbers down to get them a little closer, plus a sample working policy. Like the mayor said, this is a very emotional issue. I don't think Dickson County wants to have the reputation that we pick a dog up in 72 hours, we're euthanizing it. I think that's far from the case. But there are a lot of county run and animal control situations that have good best practices policies when it comes to evaluating animals. Typically vicious, non-social, seriously injured, or extremely sick animals. And to try to avoid at all costs, euthanizing an animal just for bed space, it can happen, it does happen, but you want to minimize that at all costs. So I think the committee, we should be able to have a good sample policy for them to look over to what kind of business you would be in and what kind of policies. And I don't have any of those tonight, but I can tell you that would be the goal to reach if the county ends up not being able to work out some other arrangement. And I think that'll be a good work for the committee to get those numbers and kind of keep us on track. So with that being said, this is kind of a snapshot since 2020. This is an average over a 3-year period of the animals that we've taken in. Less than 22% of dogs get returned to owner. About 1% of cats get returned to owner. That's where they are able to locate the legal owner of the animal and return it to them. So next. So some of the stuff that came up in social media about and I can't speak for the Humane Society. I am on the board. I did not vote on any of this because I felt like it'd be a conflict of interest. But at the end of the day, the figures that we got, and from that, based on what they were charging the city at 60, We just kind of had an accountant kind of broke that down for us, if you will. Next. This is a formulary that comes out. So based on city or county dogs, a lot of times there's not really any difference. You'll may have some instances that are rare that occur where you have a hoarding situation. It could happen in the city as easy as it could in the county. So really no distinction. So based on that amount put out there and broke that down, as you can see, that's about $178.57 per animal, per diem, one-time fee. And I'll let them at some point, the Humane Society, if they come up with a better offer or how to break that down for you, but this is all the information I can have. So that's what that breaks down to. I feel like that would be a better business plan, if you would. If you're in business and you're asking for money, if whether it's from the county or from a financial lending institution, got to have a business plan, right? Or nobody's going to give you the money. And I think you guys have a right to know exactly what you're getting for the $150,000. And so breaking it down based on the city's numbers and our numbers, that's what it comes out to. So next. Threw some options in here, but obviously can continue on the previous joint arrangement, status quo, reinstate the MOU. The committee can get into that. Hopefully we dig down deeper. This is just an overview to try to get you guys a better understanding so you can start to think on this and start to interact with the committee that the mayor's put together. So, I don't know if it's going to be another 150 in 2024. So we need to kind of have a set way, we subcontract, as the mayor pointed out, with health services for the sheriff's office. We subcontract food services, inmate telephone services, other county divisions, even the highway department. I'm sure they have some vendor that they subcontract certain services out. So that's kind of where we're at. And we do have times where we cannot pick up what I call non-vicious pest animals because the Humane Society said we don't have a bed for them. So I can't pick them up. And so, we're not, the county animal control deputy does not run right around the county looking for a dog with no collar and grabbing him. It's usually complaint driven by our citizens here in Dickson County. They call in a complaint. It's either a vicious dog, it's getting my chickens, or, it's tearing my trash up. Nobody owns it. I can't find an owner. And so that's when we go into action, make a determination to pick an animal up. And still they've picked up or they've took a couple animals for us. Okay. But in general, these nuisance animals, they're not housing. And so I'll get on a little bit more here in a minute. So moving forward, another option, renegotiate a new arrangement. I think all of y'all know, have everybody sit down. Maybe this is where the committee comes in. We kind of get a better understanding what it might cost us if we have to be in the business of housing them. Okay. So based on a 3-year average of animals, we're looking 551 animals a year that we pick up. So 25 to 30 dogs a month if things been chugging along, about the same with cats. So if you base that off of there, you come up with some sort of around 98,392. Changes it from 104 a little bit. And like I said, these are just information numbers. It's not hard. We still need to drill down, triple check them. And those will be given to the committee so we can better understand what we would be getting for our tax dollar by having a third party house the animals that we're responsible for when we pick them up. Okay. And one thing I would stress, it must be able to take our animals. If we're paying premium dollar, then, if you need to build onto your facility, whatever they need to do, that would be my suggestion. You can't put me in a position where I'm riding around not being able to, because I don't think the taxpayer will be getting their fair share. If we're paying premium, if we negotiate a higher rate, you're going to have to be able, if I bring you an animal, you got to take it. Okay, next. So this is sort of a breakdown budget, rough budget. This doesn't include facilities. electricity, water, utilities. I believe I'll be able to have a closer shot and present that information in more detail to the committee. And then how that committee relays it to the entire commission body. I'll let the chairman run the show. I'm just a presenter at this point. So based on that, my recommendation, if the county were to get back in the business of housing these animals full-time, we would need 2 full-time people to manage, professional people that know how to manage a shelter. It needs to be run best practices. It doesn't have to be the Ritz, okay? But there are certain basic guidelines that you housing these animals, from type of floor, sound, different things. But the salaries I'm 100% on as far as this estimate. Then I think 30,000 in expenses that cover your food, medicine, and any veterinarian, because will be some vet bills, okay? But they're not a lot based on some other budgets I'm looking at in surrounding counties that I've been comparing that with. So it could come in more like 20 based on that minus the utilities. I think worst case scenario will be about 50,000. So I went with the middle. This is right now, it's just speculative. Try to give y'all a framework so y'all can start thinking about how we're looking at this. So, we're looking at my rough guesstimate of be about 151,684. And I do plan on having refined numbers. Then the mayor will have other numbers associated with buildings or utilities that we'll plug in there and give y'all a little bit better rough estimate. Go ahead next. Okay. These 3 things kind of came up for discussion. We have on the tops, the Eno, like the mayor said, it's been abandoned for a while. They have done some dirt work out there. It did have some flooding issues. There is currently, for our emergency operations, the white building just behind it, there's about 12. We can expand to maybe 15 in crates. Housing that is livable for any animals that we pick up. Okay. It's got a brand new heat and air unit in it. It's been freshly painted, cleaned, and rehabbed. So we can hold a few dogs if we get them. There's other parts of the building, kind of pumped the brakes on it a little bit. I didn't want to put one more sheet of plywood up there until I got a clear direction where we're going to go, whether we're going to go back in the business and make a long-term commitment to it, or whether we're going to subcontract out that. Does that make sense? So there's still some work to be done on there. Most of it's fairly inexpensive. At the end of the day, some OSB plywood, no sheetrock. There's a little sheetrock rehab. There's got a little bit of mold out in the area where you would probably have an office or additional storage for like cats in a cage, that sort of thing. So I echo the mayor. All the county employees that worked on this have done a good job so far. And so we can pick up. So if we get a vicious animal tonight, we got it covered in the short term. This is the old jail. Some of you commissioners been on here for a while may have heard called the Annex. This building built in 1978. It hasn't been functional for 13 years. This site, and back to just quickly, so you know, if we end up having to run this, if I'm charged with running this facility, I can keep the labor costs down by using trustee labor, which is free labor. There's no cost. And the 2 shelters I looked at, Cheatham and Robertson, we would be about that same size. And they typically have between 5 and 7 full-time employees. So that drives their cost of operation on the high side. I can keep that part managed, the cleaning, the feeding, the exercising, the stuff that these other full-time employees are doing. I can do that with inmate labor. So that's how we can run it lean. All right, if we have to run it. Of course, the jail would be most convenient if it is up there. I just have to walk the trustees over. I don't have to transport them out there and transport them back. So that's why it would be, and the way the old jail is with the open cell areas, it's just kind of a natural, you can easily put and very inexpensively put kennels in there, has a laundry facility, all of that. So we started looking into it, okay, if we had to go permanent, this would probably be a good place to do it. The only problem is that the building's not been in use in 13 years. And like I say, it's built in 78, so it's probably beyond its realistic, and just the rough estimate, it'd take about $487,000 to get it back online, new heating and air, some plumbing rehab, and a new roof. Because the roof that was put on it the last time was a foam roof. And my understanding, you can't repair that. That was a 15-year repair. And so it has to be all torn off. But anyway, I'm gonna get it back out of the weeds, Mayor. I'm fixing to close this. So we kind of kicked around an idea, okay, Eno's probably not a long-term solution if we get back into business. Okay, be fully transparent. We've patched it up for right now. Long-term, it's probably would need a new facility. This type of facility with the pound, I'm fixing to go look at Robertson County. They're building a new one, sort of on basically a pole barn. And those right now are still less expensive to build. Would be my recommendation. We have property up at the sheriff's office to put a facility. Hopefully I have a closer guesstimate or estimate on what it would cost. This facility doesn't have to be used huge. We kind of did a little rendering there. I've got some talent listening up there at the sheriff's office. I've got people that they're really great deputies, but they've got other talent. And so this is just kind of a rough sketch of what it would increase some storage. We could have some storage for other areas, and we'd probably have a 30-year building. So, that's where I'm on it. I'll continue to refine this information for the committee, so you could have a lot more certainty of where we're at. But if we had to build a new building eventually, that would be the place to put it. We've already got the land, and it would make it so much easier for me to not have to increase employees, and it'd be good for the inmates. Okay, there's a lot of rehab out there. So, I mean, there's several positives, and it would just be really a lot more convenient to walk them down the sidewalk than drive them from Charlotte out there. And so, if the inmates are off the property, they will be GPS ankle bracelet, so we can fence them in. So, and these people are low-level offenders, so I feel confident that there would be no risk to the public with them. And like I said, so anyway, this is kind of just kind of an overview. I think I'm going to close it right. These are some stuff I'm going to get copies for y'all for this and get them to you so you can dive down. But these are just some of the standards of care in animal shelters. And like I say, as stated earlier, it doesn't have to be the Ritz, okay? But there are certain best practices that if we're going to associate our name with, we need to do it right. We don't have to do it fancy. We can't keep animals for 2 or 3 years. I'm just telling you. But we can have a reasonable policy, I think, that most citizens in Dickson County could live with when it comes to euthanasia policy. Okay. And, and that's why, like I said, I would need a professional staff to actually run the one due to their knowledge base. And there's a few basic state regulations, but I'll have all that for the committee next. And just kind of in closing, there's what we've got. You can see the new heat and air unit. You can see some new rehab on back of what we consider the office. We've gotten some runs, secured fencing. Most of it we either used or we had some in stock. All of this, most of the heavy lifting, cleaning and rehabbing was done by inmate labor. And so a little bit of new wiring had to be done, but I would let my dog spend the night there at this point, because it's not open to the weather. It's climate control. We've got staff feeding and cleaning daily. Next. And so we currently do have 2 pit bull mixes that we had to pick up, but as you can see, there's a lot of work been done. Yes, the ceiling looks rough right now, but this is the front office. There's a little bit of mold back in the corner. And like I said, we just pumped the brakes on that. You know, we don't have to put sheetrock. We can put something up there to close up the ceiling. So it looks rough, but there's no animals housed there. There's nobody with an office there yet or anything like that. But the area of containment for the animals is functional and is operational. So anyway, last one, I think. Just to recap, so I mentioned Cheatham and Roberts. My key points, we would need 2 full-time. Our employees, our goal would be to remain a low-kill facility. Only vicious, serious health issues, injured animals euthanized. I do have a retired local veterinarian that's willing to assist us at no cost on making some assessments if an animal needs to be euthanized. You know, if it's got a little infected something on its hip, he might clean it out and sew it up. Give it a chance for us to maybe, if it's a friendly animal that we could adopt out, fine. Robertson County, the current cost there is $90 for a dog and $80 for a cat. And that covers all their medicines, whatever veterinary care they've had, and plus being spayed, because in Tennessee, you cannot adopt directly to the public unless the animal has been spayed and neutered. So that would be our policy. And I hope to get this refined down for the committee. And then that can be shared with you guys. So hopefully give you the knowledge base, because I'm not recommending one way or the other, but you know, I believe y'all need to know what you're getting into financially, and as I would with any other vendors. Nothing against the Humane Society. You know, I would like to see their exact numbers, just like I would a food vendor or medical services or any other people that I may have to do a request for a proposal from them, review it, and then make recommendations to you guys. So that's kind of where we're at. Any questions? Yes.
Where are we at currently? Because I'm a little bit confused. So are we using, so you're not carrying any animals to the Humane Society now, right?
Not per se. Now, they have helped us out with a couple special case by cases.
Okay.
You know, we had picked up a dog that was getting in a lady's chickens, and I couldn't, you know, if he'd have been tearing her trash up, I'm like, ma'am, can you give me a little bit of time? You know, if it's killing chickens, I mean, technically she could defend her livestock, but she chose to call us, and we were taking the dog to the facility, and the animal control guy got rear-ended in the city of Dickson. So kind of gave the dog a concussion. The Humane Society found out about that, and they come and took that dog off our hands. As far as I know, I think he's going to be okay. But you know, he's in a holding cage in the back of a pickup truck and gets rear-ended. So, you know, per se, no, they're not taking them. So we are taking some on a couple of case by case basis. They have took responsibility for an animal for us. But we, you know, for all practical purposes, if we pick up anything, we're putting it, we're housing it. All right.
The other night, that proposal she gave us, then it's right in the line of what you're saying it's gonna cost the county regardless, right? I think it's gonna be 140,000 something.
It was 150, probably close. Probably gonna be close at the end of the day. I hope to refine it down.
Especially if you can't euthanize them. Well, that's hard to really grasp, I think. I mean, if you get it done for 150,000, why would we want to do all this other?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that'll be, I think that's a good question. And I think the committee, once they get all the pieces that are a little more refined, like I said, I've just kind of wanted to give you a skeleton view of kind of where we're at. And then let y'all drill down deeper. And because it's at the end of the day, it's going to be a business transaction.
Sheriff, is like White Bluff, Burns and all of them, what do they contribute on picking up the dogs or whatever?
They
Sylvia, Charlotte, I mean, They pay any extra or whatever?
No, sir, not, no, they're considered in the county in the absence of an enforcement, whether it's law enforcement or animal control. If they do not have their own person, then the sheriff is obligated to.
Well, see, I
Take care of
remember White Bluff had a heck of a good kennel up there. I mean, you know, when they picked up their dogs.
Yeah, back in the day, they
You
did.
remember Danny?
Yes, sir.
All this has come about and the Humane Society has stopped you from bringing animals to their facilities. So the decision was made to go back into the facility or because we had nowhere else to go.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. That is correct.
Hey, Sheriff, it looked like you was on the Humane Society board and you're looking about this. We've been told from day one that you're in charge of the main, you're in charge. That it's your responsibility. That's what we've been told.
Yeah.
So I want your opinion. When you come back, I want your recommendation because I believe everybody here respects you and understands what you do, whether you want to be in the dog business or not. I want a recommendation from you.
Okay.
Is the way I'm gonna vote. Okay.
Yes, sir. The mayor's, I'll be part of that committee as far as providing presentation and information.
Any other question for the sheriff? Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. I thank this is Lieutenant Matt Norris. I appreciate it. He worked hard and we collaborated, and I thank the mayor for, hopefully that was somewhat helpful. We'll get you full copy of everything.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I was pointed out by my attorney that I missed item number 7. It does not require resolution. What it is was the clarity from TCA code about the closing of a justice center during weather and other maintenance issues. And again, as I pointed out to y'all 2 weeks ago, the issue was we were all in one building before, but now that's separated. So we're trying to get the clarity on that. Next time we have a weather event, that the Justice Center also comes from the mayor's office on making that decision. All we need on that is not a resolution. It's just to be put in the minute. So if y'all are in favor of that, we need a voice vote of aye. If not, no. Open the floor for the vote. All in favor, vote by aye. Opposed? Thank you. Got everything up top. So approval of the notaries, Madam Clerk.
Got a long list. Loretta Ayer, Jennifer Bryant, Nathan Bryson, Angelia Deason, Talitha Elola, Amber England, Ashley Ford, Ashley Golden, Gabriel Hayes, Victor Howard, Brenda Jenkins, Robbie Reynolds Johnson, Don Melton, Daniel Morton, Melinda Maraca, Jennifer Simpkins Purnell, Quentin Phillips, Christina Rainey, Angela Roper, Harley Russell, Courtney Ryan, Stephanie Sobrano, Valerie Strom, Hunter Travis, Eva Trotter, Susan Tucker, Sheila Underhill, Shawana Wellens, and Miranda Williams.
I think next time we can just get a list of people that are not notaries. It'll be shorter.
It's a long.
So open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Buckner, second by Commissioner Spicer. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Any announcements? Okay. Final announcement will be the next regular session meeting will be on Monday, March 20th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the Beaverdale Booty Reed Jr. County Commission Chamber of the Dickson County Administration Building, 4 Court Square, Charlotte, Tennessee. Have a motion, second adjourn. Thank you.